TJ, you don't have a question? Okay, I have a question. When does the application process start? What is the beginning of the application process? Has anybody ever been curious? Like, when should I start filling out apps for college, period? It's a pretty good question. I've had that question. Yeah, I've had that question as well. So I'll kick it to, how about I kick the panel off? I'll kick it to you guys. When's the proper time to start applying?
At Davenport University, we encourage our juniors to apply at the very end of their junior year, and once they finish out that junior year, to start submitting those transcripts and ACT or SAT scores. You can't submit those transcripts until you finished out your junior year. We do need that final junior GPA, but we encourage them to start applying whenever the application opens, and then just get those transcripts and ACT scores as soon as you finish that year out. That's for Davenport.
Yes, and I will say a tip. So you want to have your application submitted by October 31st. So before Halloween is when you should get your application done to all of your colleges. Don't just apply to just one school. Make sure you have a plan A, B, and C, because you never know what's going to happen or what your financial aid package is going to look like.
Also, one quick note, I remember back in the day through Michigan State University, especially with the Osteo champs, they used to have something called College Admissions Day, and they would have it like on a Saturday with a big football game going and everything, and you could bring your application to them and submit your application face-to-face with them, and I think they would give you advice and give you some other information regarding the application process. So the earlier you get your application process, the better.
Any questions about that? Okay, I have a question. What is rolling at, what does it mean for rolling admission? What is that?
Actually, Davenport has rolling admission, which means, like Lorena said, that priority is October 31st. But if something happens or you're planning to go away from school and you have a last minute change of heart, Davenport accepts students up to about 2 weeks before classes start. So although you want that application in as soon as possible to be qualified for all of the scholarship opportunities and the financial aid, that rolling deadline does mean that we accept on a regular basis, and there's no firm, hard deadline in terms of our application process.
Yes, so with that said, there are a lot of universities in Michigan that is rolling admissions, but schools like U of M and Michigan State are very competitive, and a lot of students are going to be applying. So if you are interested in one of those schools that is selective, you want to make sure you're applying by that November 1st deadline so you can hear back and not get in like the spring semester. A lot of my students have been getting accepted at the last minute, but they're telling them you're accepted, but you're accepted for spring and not fall. So that's something that you guys really need to think about when you're applying to these schools. Now, schools like Ferris, Western, Grand Valley, schools that, well, Grand Valley is pretty selective, but Ferris, Western, Davenport, schools that aren't so selective, like you can probably hear back from them as a backup plan if that's what you're interested in.
Okay. Any questions?
I have one. I'm sure the college will cover more than financial aid portion, but I hear a lot of different things concerning loans that they're a good thing to get to help you, but then they're bad in the end. I'm sure you all know, can you kind of give us a little more insight on how loans work and the pros and cons of loans and how they really work?
Okay. I've been dealing with this a lot. So there is some things that you need to know about loans. There's several different types of funding that can pay for your education. So one is loans, the other is grants, and the other is scholarships. So on your package, they will offer you an estimated package. So say at Grand Valley State University, it's an estimated cost of $22,192. So does that mean it really costs that much to go there? So that's something that you really have to think about. So they're gonna offer you an unsubsidized loan and a subsidized loan. Can anybody in here tell me the difference between an unsub and subsidized loan? It's important. You guys should be knowing this. Okay, raise your hand if you're a high school senior in here. Okay, raise your hand if you're a junior. So if any of you are high school seniors and juniors, it's very important you know the difference between an unsub and a subsidized loan. So a subsidized loan does not collect interest until 6 months after you graduate college, okay? Now, an unsubsidized loan immediately collects interest as soon as you take it out. So say if they offer you a $1,000 loan and then they offered you that unsub loan for 4 years, that's $4,000 you've taken out in unsub loans, and then there's an interest rate of 4%. Do the math. So if you've taken out a loan and it's collecting interest for 4 years, and now it's $4,000 and it's a 4% on that, by the time you graduate, it's now become closer to a $5,000 loan that you've taken out. Okay, so that is the difference between a subsidized and an unsub loan. Now, grants you don't have to pay back, and then scholarships is money that you're awarded based on your academic performance, like your GPA and ACT score. Okay, any questions about that?
I'll add to that because I think the financial portion is very important to the admissions process. It's the reason some of us pick our schools. So the financial aid portion will cover some of this, but the FAFSA, how many of you know what the FAFSA is? Do you know what it stands for?
Tell us.
Tell us. Free
Application for
federal student aid. So one of the things I want to talk about is the key word in that is free. Do not pay to do the FAFSA. This was something that I ran into with a lot of students. They were paying to do the FAFSA, and I was like, why are you doing that? The website is fafsa.ed.gov. That's where you actually go to apply for the FAFSA. Right there, they're going to ask you for a PIN number and things like that. You need to write all this information down because the FAFSA follows you throughout your tenure of college. It's not just, you don't just do it the first year and stop. You continue to do it. And it plays into that package like Lorena was talking about, the grants and the loans and things like that. And I know this will probably be covered in financial aid portion, but the way the aid works is you always want to accept the free money first. Take the free money, the grants, the scholarships and things like that. Look at the package, look at how much that is offered, and then look at the, like, just because you get a package that says that it's enough for you to pay for school, is it mostly loans? And are they unsubsidized? Are they subsidized? So that's stuff that you need to look at too. And then when doing the application, some schools put on their application, are you an athlete? Do you, or certain qualifications so that they can put you in a pool for school scholarships. A lot of schools have scholarships that they automatically put you in the pool for just for applying to their school. So when you're filling out the application, look for things like that. I have a question about the common application. Do you guys know what the common application is?
Wait, Kira, before we go on, I know there's a lot of seniors in here, so you probably have gotten your award packages back. And I do want you to know, like, say if you got an award package from Western, and it says you got $17,000, but its estimated cost of $23,000. That means that you are expected to come up with that additional $5,000. So if you are in that situation where there is a gap in your financial aid package, there are ways to get around that. So there is a Parent Plus loan that you can take out, and say if your parents have bad credit and they're saying, I'm not doing this, I don't want to do it, have them do it anyways, and then they will get denied, and you will get that additional loan money to cover that balance. And also, you could call the financial aid office and say, hey, I really want to come to this school. I don't have enough money to attend. There's always ways to get around it. And then I hope that all the seniors in here did apply for the Muskegon Community Foundation. Those scholarships are getting ready to come out. The Gerber Scholarship, they're going to be at your awards banquet. So please, for all the seniors, look at your packages, make sure that you have enough money to attend the college of your choice, and then start calling the financial aid offices before we move on.
One more point. Also, when it comes to the community foundation loans, generally those, not loans, but scholarships, always remember for your sophomores, juniors, or other underclassmen, remember that normally the community foundation scholarships are normally due on March 1st, and they're done through the internet.
We'll do one more question, and then we'll go to our next thing. The common application, I think that's important. A lot of schools, especially in Michigan, are moving to the common application. So anybody want to talk about, is that more on the common app? I don't think so. Michigan State is moving to the common app. They haven't moved yet. They're moving to the common app. But U of M is on there. Yeah, Michigan State's moving to the common app. I know it's a disaster, right? So the common application is this massive database, pretty much, where you put in an application and you can select the colleges that you want this application sent to, but you have to pay for them separately. That's something that a lot of students don't know. They go on the Common App, and let's say you want to apply to U of M and you want to apply to Hope and K College. You want to apply those three. You don't just pay one fee. You apply. You put in your general app, and then you answer any specific questions for those universities as well, and you still pay that deposit, the application fee to those schools as well, and it will tell you that, so you need to read the directions on the Common App really well, so that you can see exactly what qualifications apply to each school, because your app will be incomplete for certain schools if you don't complete the full thing, so take your time. But one of the nice things about the Common App is that it is one database where you can start a general app, and then you just have to answer kind of like supplementary questions for most schools, which is really nice. So you might run across that a lot, especially coming up in the future, because a lot of schools are moving on there. I think there's 156 schools on there right now, probably more. Oh no, just within like everywhere, there are a lot.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what Carolyn said, so say if you are a student who qualifies for free reduced lunch, there is a question on there that asks you, are you able to pay this fee? And you can click no, and you won't have to pay that application. So what you guys understand, the Common Application, like you can apply for Harvard, Michigan State, Duke, Brown, all of the Ivy League schools with that one application, and then you have to answer the supplemental questions. So like you'll have a general application, and then they'll give you a second set of questions for each university. That's what you really need to pay attention to. And then you also have to know the emails of your counselor and your teachers, because your teachers have to click a link to write you a letter of recommendation. And you want to make sure that you're picking someone that actually knows you, because I know students come in my office at the last minute who I've never seen before, asking me for a letter of recommendation, and it's not really going to be a really good one. So you need to, the people who are writing your letters, they need to know you.
Oh, and just because you have free and reduced lunch, you need to, there's a form that your counselor has to fill out. You can't just click the box and be done. Your counselor has to send this form in or upload this document. So don't just click the box and think they're not gonna ask. So, but yeah, so any last comments before we go into it?
Yes, she touched up on something that I kind of want to emphasize, especially with some of the students and youth that I know when it comes to letters of recommendation. As students, I know it's important to be involved with certain student organizations, you know, at your local high school or even in your community. But when you participate in these organizations, please do something that makes an impact. So the advisor or the adult volunteer or whoever is over the program, they can remember who you are. So when they write the letter of recommendation, they can say, when Frank was in this program, he impacted a program like this, and the program was able to change for the better because of his influence and the types of things that he has done. You want to avoid the type of recommendation letter that says, she was a nice person, he was a nice person, he was part of this organization for 3 years, and not allowing the admissions counselor or the scholarship committee to see no impact that you made as a student while you were part of that organization. You don't want to give the impression that you were part of that organization as a resume filler to make it look like you were active.
Yes. And also, to get a letter of recommendation, give your teacher and counselor at least 2 weeks in advance before you just show up at their office or in their classroom expecting a letter of recommendation from them, because you probably won't get one. So make sure you do it well in advance.
All right. Oh, we have a question in the back. Mom, is here.
With the letter of recommendation. Also, when you're sending that letter of asking for that recommendation from your counselor or your teacher, it would be nice if you give them an email that has a little bit more in-depth information about you, and it does help them to write that letter, especially if you wait till the last minute. The more information you can give him or her, it will allow them to give you a better recommendation.
And always say thank you. Even when people tell you no, they won't let you write you a letter of recommendation. The fact that you even thought to ask them, still thank them for even taking time to consider you, even if you knew they weren't going to write it or something. Still always say thank you, always. So yeah, that'll be the conclusion of this presentation. But Kelsey from Davenport has a table in the back, as well as Frank from the MSU Extension.